So, na-discuss po natin during week 2, definition ng tourism, di ba? Binigyan po natin ng different definition from different author or sources. So, meron tayong definition according to UNWTO, according to Tourism Note, and Tourism Society of Britain. So, tinignan natin kung ano yung point of view nitong different author. So, majority naman is dinefine si tourism as yung pag-travel ng tourist, yan, from point of origin papunta doon sa kanyang destination. So, according nga kay UNWTO, not more than 20, minimum 24 hours, and then not more than 1 year para matawag po na siya ay tourist. So, and then, sa ibang definition naman, for example, kay tourism notes, ayan, minimum of 24 hours up to 6 months lang. So, yun, after 6 months, so hindi na po siya tourist lang sa isang destination according doon sa definition ng tourism note. So, kay UNWTO, maximum of 1 year para po siya ay matawag na tourist. So, aside doon, na-discuss din po natin during week 2, ayan, difference ng tourism policy, planning and development. So, bakit essential po yun yan sa isang tourist destination. And then, na-discuss din po natin about psychographic theory of destination. So, yung theory ni sa Stanley Flagg, di ba, yung 3 types of tourists. Hinati niya sa 3 types si tourists, which is si allocentric, is mga adventurous type of tourists. Mid-centric, yung balance. So, preferred niya ang adventure while preferred niya rin yung comfortable and accessible na travel. And then si psychocentric na ayun, mas gusto yung comfortability ayan ng kanyang travel. So yan, doon din natin na-focus yung ating seat work during last meeting natin. And then continuation, ito nga karugtong po ng ating lesson last week. So, kung titignan nyo doon sa PowerPoint, nandun na rin po yung week 3. So, ayan. So, for today, so destination life cycle naman yung didiscuss natin. So, Flagg's theory also provides insights into the life cycle of tourist destinations. So, according to Flagg, destinations evolve through stages similar to psychographic spectrum of tourist. So, dito makikita natin na, ayan, kung gaano naging essential or nag-benefit yan nga ang tourism research yan dito sa theory ni Stanley Flagg kasi aside doon sa types of tourists, so nagamit din siya dito sa life cycle yung theory ni Stanley Flagg. So meron tayong tatlo, so si introduction stage, growth stage, maturity stage, and apat pala, decline stage. So, isa-isahin po natin ano yung difference po nitong each stages according pa rin doon nga sa theory ni Stanley Flagg. So, una, introduction stage. In this stage, allocentric travelers discover a new destination. Their adventurous spirit and desire for novelty drive the initial development of tourism in the area. So, dito po sa introduction stage ng isang destination. So, ang unang nakadiscover sa kanya or unang mga tourist dito, traveler, is yung mga allocentric. Diba? Kasi nga, diba, ano ba ang characteristic ni allocentric? So, adventurous sila and then preferred nila na sila yung isa sa nakaka-discover ng mga unpopular destination. Ayan, mga undeveloped destination. So, kaya dito sa introduction stage ng isang destination, so, allocentric po yung mga initial tourist nila. So, sila yung nakaka-discover nitong mga undeveloped or unpopular pa na destination. So, kasi nga, si allocentric tourist, so they seek ng authenticity doon sa kanilang travel. Ayan, gusto nila yung mga ganitong destination. So, okay sa kanila kahit limited amenities. Ayan, wala pang ganong accommodation. So, dahil nga ito is yung destination na sa introduction stage, ito yung mga destination po na hindi pa ganong ka-develop yung infrastructure. So, hindi pa ganun ka-accessible. So, wala pang ganong comfortable na mga accommodation. So, usually, yan nga, allocentric yung kanilang unang tourists. And then, sa growth stage, Ayan, so bigyan pala muna natin ng example yung introduction kanina. So, for example nito, sa Siargao, yung sa introduction. So, before nagkaroon ng mga luxury resorts po doon, yan, maayos na main roads, yan, bago nagkaroon ng commercial flight sa Siargao. So, it was initially introduced doon sa mga tourist na mga surfers. Yan, mga tourist na ang tawag is backpackers, yung may mga malalaking backpack na dala. So, yun, okay sila magstay doon nga sa mga undeveloped pa na destination. And then, up to now, yan, kung ano na yung kilala nating Siargao na popular doon nga sa mga different types ng tourist kasi ayun nga, develop na rin yung destination so maayos na ang infrastructure, accommodation, so accessible na po siya. So dito naman tayo sa growth stage. So as word spreads, mid-centric travelers begin to visit the destination. The influx of these tourists leads to the development of tourism infrastructure such as hotels, restaurants, and recreational facilities. The destination gains popularity and start attracting broader audience. So, kung kanina sa introduction stage po is allocentric pa lang yung ating tourist. So, pagdating sa growth stage, yan ng isang destination. So, pati mid-centric travelers po is na-attract na doon sa isang destination. Kasi nga, nagsisimula na siyang mag-develop yung infrastructure, ayan, nagkakaroon na ng maayos na hotel, restaurant, ayan, mga recreational facilities. So, nagsisimula ng mag-gain ng popularity, ayan, yung isang destination. So, kaya, pati yung mid-centric, so, ayun yung nag-fuel doon sa growth nung isang destination. So, di ba, again, si mid-centric, so, gusto niya ng adventure at the same time, gusto niya ng comfortable na travel or stay. So, yan. Kaya sa growth stage, yan, na-attract na si mid-centric kasi nga, yan, mas develop na yung infrastructure, mas accessible na and comfortable na yung stay doon sa isang destination. So, yan, nagkakaroon na ng maayos na airport, ayan, and then, different modes of transportation, develop na. So, sa stage din na ito, so mas nag-intensify na yung marketing strategy, yan, marketing effort ng destination. So, nag-start na silang magkaroon ng mga private investor doon sa kanilang destination, ayan. And then, syempre, ano ang kasabay po nun ang benefits sa community? So, syempre, nakakapag-provide na rin po ng income, ayan, sa community. So, nagkakaroon na ng income opportunity, ng job opportunity doon sa kanilang destination. So, syempre, yung economic situation ng tourism industry doon sa isang destination, so, nag-start na rin mag-grow dito. But, sa stage po na ito, sa growth stage, so, dapat si local government, so, maging mindful siya or, yun nga, dapat mabalance yung rapid growth, yan, development ng infrastructure, expansion, syempre doon sa environmental protection. So again, wag nating kalimutan na despite doon sa opportunity for growth sa tourism sector, so hindi dapat maglagay sa alanganin yung ating natural resources. So syempre, kasabay ng pag-grow, so tendency baka ma-abuse yung natural resources. So ayaw naman natin mangyari to. So syempre dapat si government, ayan, so maging mindful siya, ayun, careful doon sa pag-implement ng mga policy, ayan, framework doon sa destination para syempre habang nag-grow yung kanilang economy, ayan, so napoprotektahan pa rin yung natural resources. So kasi nga, ayun, properly implemented yung mga policy framework doon sa destination. And then, so third maturity stage, the destination reaches its peak popularity, attracting a significant number of mid-centrics and psychocentric. The tourism infrastructure is well developed and the destination is well marketed. While visitor numbers are high, the destination's risk becoming overly commercialized and losing its unique appeal. So, yan, pagdating ng maturity stage naman ng destination, so, kumbaga na-reach niya na yung peak ng popularity niya, so, hanggang psychocentric types ng tourist. So, yun na yung kanilang mga visitor. So, lahat na yung tatlong types ng tourist. So, allocentric, mid, psychocentric. So, dahil nga continuous nag-develop, ayan, mas naka-attract pa ng bagong types ng tourist. So, hanggang kay psychocentric. So, pagdating dito sa maturity stage, So, dito yung stage po na ito is expect natin na high volume of visitor na. So, mas marami visitor. So, and then, syempre, kasabay nun, may risk na po ng over-commercialization or, ayun nga, yung hindi na makontrol yung flow ng tourist. So, kaya mas dapat dito is careful, ayan nga, sa pag-implement ng mga policy, ayan, ang government, ayan, kung paano makakokontrol, yan nga, yung mga flow ng tourist doon sa kanilang destination. So, dito papasok yung tinatawag natin na binilalagyan ng maximum number of tourists daily. Ayan, para ma-manage pa rin nila yung flow. Ayan, yung pumapasok na tourist sa kanilang destination. And then, ayan nga, monitored pa rin yung kanilang natural resources. Siyempre, the more na maraming tourists, so mas malaki yung tendency na ma-abuse po yung natural resources. So, kaya dapat, ayan, maging mindful nga yung mga policy maker, ayan, government. So, dito sa stage po na ito. Ayan. And then, para maiwasan yung, ayan nga, over-tourism or excessive number of visitors daily. Ayan. So, hindi mag-cause ng pollution or environmental degradation. And then, dito rin po sa stage ng maturity stage, so dahil nga naging masyado na siyang popular, so dito na rin nagsisimula pong mawala yung pagiging authentic ng isang destination. So, yung uniqueness niya. So, kumbaga, parang kung before, parang bago siyang destination newly discovered doon sa introduction. So, pagdating ng maturity stage, so dito yung parang typical na lang siya na isang destinations. Kumbaga, naging overly commercialized na nga yung destination and then parang nawala na yung authenticity, yung uniqueness ng isang destination. So, kumbaga, dapat dito mas mag-effort nga yung destination, ayan, sa marketing strategy, ayan, kung paano mag-promote pa, ayan, yung continuously yung kanilang destination. So, dahil nga naging parang typical na lang siya na isang destination. Dapat, yan, may mga bagong offering ng activities, ayan, and then mga continuous development pa ng mga destination, tourist attraction doon sa kanilang destination. And then, pagdating po ng decline stage, so if the destination fails to innovate and adapt, it may enter a decline phase as psychocentric tourists seek new emerging destinations. So, however, with proper management and strategic marketing, destination can rejuvenate itself by attracting a new wave of allocentric and mid-centric traveler. So, pagdating ng decline stage, so ito na yung pinaka-final stage, kumbaga. Syempre, medyo critical na po ito. So, if ang isang destination is hindi nakapag-innovate, hindi nakapag-adapt doon sa mga latest trends sa tourism industry. So, sabi natin, di ba, nagbabago po ang preference ng tourist as time goes by. So, depende rin syempre factor din doon yung travel trend. So, ano yung trend ngayon? So, kung hindi makakasabay yung destination doon sa latest trend sa pagbabago ng preference ng tourist, so walang innovation na nangyari, hindi adaptable. So, it may enter nga yung decline stage doon sa destination life cycle. So, imagine even si psychocentric, di ba, ano ba ang characteristic ni psychocentric? So, sabi natin, last meeting si psychocentric po is okay lang sa kanya kahit na second time, third time, or paulit-ulit siya doon mag-visit sa isang destination kasi nga gusto niya yung familiarity, iyan, yung sure siya doon sa i-expect niyang service or comfortably nung kanyang stay doon sa destination. But imagine pagdating ng decline stage, even si psychocentric tourist is naghanap na ng bagong destination. So, iyan, nakasalalay naman syempre ito doon sa adaptability and pag-innovate ng isang destination para syempre hindi umabot po ng decline stage. So, in this stage, so unti-unti nagda-drop na yung tourist arrival. So, dahil nga, ayun, nag-seek na ng new destination si psychocentric or other tourists. So, bumababa na yung number of tourist arrival. And syempre, anong effect nito sa tourism industry? So, yung mga businesses, of course, na heavily rely sa tourism sector, so maapektuhan din po sila. So, maaring yung mga businesses is may magsara, ayan, or magbawas ng employee. So, affected hanggang community kasi nga mababawasan yung merong income opportunity, job opportunity dito sa decline stage. So, yan, importante yung innovation, adaptability nung isang destination. Kasi may tinatawag naman tayo na rejuvenation strategies, yan, pagdating ng decline stage. So, para nga ma-boost ulit yung market ng isang destination. So, kumbaga, pwede silang mag-rebrand, yan, para ma-pull out nila doon sa decline stage yung kanilang situation. Yan. Ang isang example na naisip ko po dito is yung nangyari before sa Boracay, yung rehabilitation during 2018. So, di ba, during Duterte administration, so, nagkaroon ng temporary closure, 6 months sa Boracay dahil nga doon sa nangyari contamination sa dagat. So, saan nanggaling yon? Dahil doon sa maling waste management, yan, improper waste management ng mga hotel accommodation doon sa Boracay. So, pinaklose sila ng government for 6 months to malinis yung kanilang dagat. So, after 6 months, so ano ang ginawang strategy ni Boracay? So, nirebrand nila yung Boracay as cleaner, yan, eco-friendly destination daw. So, para, ayun, maka-attract ng mga bagong tourists yan after nilang mag-resume ng operation during that time. Pero, ayun nga, after nilang mag-resume no, after 6 months, syempre, mas naghigpit doon sa implementation ng waste management, yan, yung visitor flow, and then, syempre, yung mga establishment, yan, especially yung mga hotel nearby doon sa dagat. So, yan, may proper waste management na sila na sinusunod po para ayun nga hindi na ulit mangyari yung nangyari nung rehabilitation nila during 2018. So Plague's model is largely regarded as a cornerstone of tourism theory. It's pretty important. This model has provided foundation for many other studies throughout the past 4 decades and has helped tourism industry stakeholders to comprehend better and manage their tourism provision. So, ayan, si Plague's theory, ayan, ni Stanley Plague. So, naging basis din po siya doon sa tinatawag na Butler's Tourism Area Life Cycle. So, ayan, sa second paragraph. So, Plague's work was the precursor to Butler's Tourism Area Life Cycle. Plague wanted to examine the way in which tourism destinations develop, how do they grow, and how and why do they decline? How can we make accurate predictions to help us better manage the tourism provision at hand? Plague's research found that there were distinct correlation between appeal of a destination to different types of tourists and the rise and fall in popularity of a destination. So, yan. Basis pa rin nila yung theory ni Stanley Plague dito sa Butler's Tourism Area Life Cycle. So, tinitignan dito kung paano ba nag-grow and pumapasok sa decline stage yung isang destination. So, mamaya discuss din po natin iyon. So, but for the next slide, so implication for tourism marketing and management. So, Plague's theory has significant implications for tourism marketing and destination management. So, una, targeted marketing by understanding. Wait lang, may nag-join ata. So, accept ko lang. So, by understanding the psychographic profiles of potential tourists, destinations can develop targeted marketing campaigns. So, for example, marketing efforts for allocentric should emphasize adventure, novelty, and unique experiences, while campaigns for psychocentric should highlight safety, comfort, and well-known attraction. So, yun, dapat, yun naman talaga ang purpose po bakit nagkaroon ng theory si Stanley Plague. So, kung bakit yung hinati into 3 types si tourists, para syempre, properly align po yung marketing effort ng isang destination. So, paano yun? So, for example nga, for allocentric tourists, so ano ba dapat yung binibigyang emphasize natin or highlight doon sa mga ating tourism campaign. So, syempre, ha-highlight po natin doon about the adventure activities ng destination. Ano ba yung mga unique experiences or activities na pwedeng itry ni allocentric tourists doon sa ating destination. So, while kung ang target naman ng ating campaign is mga psychocentric, so syempre, ha-highlight po natin doon yung safety, comfort, ayan, nung ating mga accommodation and mga tourist attraction. So, yun, yung pagiging accessible. So, yun ang i-highlight natin para maging tugma doon sa ating psychocentric naman na type ng tourist. So, with the help ng theory ni Stanley, so, nagkakaroon nga ng targeted or aligned na marketing strategy yung mga destination. So, nakamatch doon sa profile or characteristic ng kanilang mga target tourist. So, syempre, dapat yung mga marketing campaign, so, para hindi masayang, syempre, dapat tugma doon sa ating audience or target market or type of tourist, syempre. So next, product development. Destinations can tailor their offerings to cater to different types of tourists. This involves creating a diverse range of activities and accommodations that appeal to allocentric, mid-centric, and psychocentric. So, yun. Siyempre, importante yung kanilang products and services is diversify, yan yung offering, or nagiging appealing siya doon sa different types ng tourists. Dapat itong tatlong types ng tourist, so masasatisfy sila pag nag-stay sila doon sa isang destination. So, yun, dapat merong continuous development ng products and services. Ayan, activities, ayan, dapat laging may bagong ino-offer lagi. So, hindi natatapos yung innovation ng isang destination. Siyempre, ayan nga, para continuous nakaka-attract po tayo ng tourists. And yun nga, yung sa destination life cycle kanina, so, para hindi umabot doon sa decline stage, so dapat continuous yung innovation and pagiging adaptable ng isang destination. So, pag sinabi nating tourism product po, so hindi lang po ito yung mga tangible products. So, meron din tayong intangible. So, sa tangible, so ito yung mga souvenir, food. Ayan, sa intangible naman is yung service na pinoprovide natin sa tourist. So, remember, tayo pa ay customer service industry, iyan ang tourism and hospitality industry. So, kasama po sa ating product offering yung ating service na pinoprovide sa ating mga customer, sa ating tourist. So, kasama yun sa experience nila, sa baon nila, so para maging memorable yung kanilang stay doon sa isang destination. So, syempre yun, dapat nag-i-improve din yung intangible product natin or yung service na napoprovide natin sa ating mga tourists. So next, sustainable development. Understanding the life cycle stages helps in planning sustainable tourism development. Destinations can implement strategies to balance growth and preserve their unique attributes, ensuring long-term viability and appeal. So, yan, by understanding yung life cycle stages nga, it helps yung destination ma-anticipate yung over-tourism. So, bago pa man maging crowded nga, so na-anticipate na nila, so nagkakaroon ng preventive measures. So, yun nga, by setting ng maximum number of tourists daily, ayan, and then nakikita nila or na-assess nila yung potential impact sa environment. So, naaagapan or, ayun nga, nakakapag-implement sila ng strategies to balance yung continuous growth, ayan, income, while preserving yung kanilang mga natural resources. Syempre, ayun nga, wag nating kalimutan yung ma-preserve yung natural resources para nga doon sa future generations or for the long-term viability ng isang destination, syempre. So, hindi lang po tayo puro income. So, tingnan din natin syempre yung ma-preserve, maprotektahan yung resources, yung culture na meron doon sa destination, and at the same time, yung kapakanan ng community doon sa isang destination. Siyempre, hindi dapat magbigay ng burden ang tourism sector sa community. So, dapat nakakapag-provide pa nga ng benefit kay community by providing nga ng job or income opportunity. So next, adaptation and innovation. So to prevent decline, destinations must continuously innovate and adapt to changing tourist preferences. This includes investing in new attractions, improving infrastructure, and promoting sustainable practices. So, yun nga nabanggit na natin kanina. So, bago pa dumating sa decline stage isang destination or kung nasa decline stage na, so para mag-rejuvenate or mabuhay uli yung tourism sector nila. So, dapat continuously mag-innovate, magiging adaptable yung tourist destination doon sa changing demand or preferences ng mga tourists. So, sabi diyan, investing in new attraction. So, mag-invest for the development ng mga bagong tourist attraction, continuously improve yung infrastructure, and promote yung sustainable practices. Siyempre, isa rin magandang move po yun, yung practicing and promoting ng sustainable tourism. So, syempre, to attract yung mga eco-conscious na tourists and syempre, yung mga potential investor doon sa isang destination. Yun nga, by promoting ng sustainable tourism practices. So Stanley Plugg's theory offers valuable insights into the psychographic segmentation of tourists and the evolution of tourist destination by categorizing travelers as allocentric, mid-centric, and psychocentric. The theory helps in understanding travel motivation and preferences. So this knowledge is crucial for developing effective marketing strategies, enhancing destination appeal, and ensuring sustainable tourism development. Through targeted efforts and continuous adaptation, destination can attract diverse range of tourists and maintain their popularity over time. So, yun. Dito makikita po natin kung gaano naging essential, ayan, yung or significance nga yung theory ni Stanley Plug kasi nga aside doon sa na determine natin yung mga types of tourists, naging align yung ating marketing strategy. So, yun, nakatulong din siya doon sa towards sa development ng isang destination. So, doon sa different destination life cycle. Next, we have boom and bust cycle. So, ano ba si boom and bust cycle? So, in tourism, it refers to the pattern where destination experiences a period of rapid growth. So, yun yung tinatawag po na boom, followed by decline or collapse, bust. So, yung rise and fall doon sa tourism economy, ayan, ng isang destination. So, this cycle is driven by economic, environmental, social, and political factors. So, yun yung mga reason bakit nagko-collapse or nagde-decline, ayan, yung isang tourist destination. So, it may be doon sa economic condition, environmental, social, and yung political instability doon sa isang destination. Siyempre, may factor din po yan. So, tignan natin yung difference nitong boom and bust cycle. So, si boom phase, so ito nga yung rapid growth ng isang destination. So, destinations experience rapid growth due to the following. So, increased demand. So, for example, nagkaroon ng mga bagong tourist attraction or kaya nag-viral sa social media, ayan, na-expose yung isang destination. So, alam naman natin gaano kabilis mo ngayon mag-promote via online. So, yan, dahil nga halos majority ng tao po is may social media, ayan, may mga sariling gadgets or devices. So, ayan, once na nag-viral yung isang destination, lalo na kung positive, ayan, so, napopromote instantly yung isang destination. So, yan, isa sa factor yon na magkaroon ng biglaang growth doon sa isang destination. Ayan. Pwede rin naman, pag nag-improve yung accessibility, ayan, yung different modes ng transportation, nag-improve. So, potential din ito for growth doon sa isang destination. So, investment and development. So, ayan, pagka continuous nag-develop yung mga accommodation, ayan, transportation, so opportunity for growth, ayan nga, positive media coverage, and economic opportunities for the local. Kasi nga, makakapag-provide na ng mas maraming job opportunity for the local. So, characteristic ng boom phase, surge in tourist arrival, rising revenues, so tumaas ang income opportunity, iyan yung mga businesses under ng tourism sector, syempre nag-benefit din, rapid infrastructure expansion, strong investor interest, dahil nga naging popular yung isang destination, so potentially, makaka-attract din to ng mga bagong investor, and destinations become trendy or must visit. So, next naman, sa bust phase naman, so ito po yung decline stage or collapse. So, the bust happens when the destination can no longer sustain the boom. So, ano ba yung mga factor po dito? Usually, it was triggered by over-tourism. So, yun masyado na naging crowded. Ayan, nagkaroon ng environmental degradation. So, kumbaga hindi na na-manage yung continuous increase ng tourist arrival. So, nag-result na doon sa negative impact sa environment. So, naging overcrowding na. Economic downturns, political instability. So, syempre, isang factor din yun. For example, may conflict sa government. Ayan. So, syempre, it may discourage yung mga tourists to visit yung isang destination. Kasi po, bakit? So, syempre, ano yung magiging implication nila? So, may issue sa safety and security yung isang country or destination na, ayan, magulo yung politika or, yun nga, merong political instability. So, magiging negative um, image ito doon sa destination. So, it may discourage yung mga tourists to visit doon sa isang destination nga na merong political instability. And, of course, natural disaster. So, ito naman is uncontrollable. So, yan, for example, mga earthquake, typhoon, volcanic eruption. So, yan, syempre, may banta rin sa safety ng tourist. So, it may discourage din yung tourists to visit yung isang destination. And, yan, pandemic. So, during COVID-19, so ayan kung maalala natin. So hindi lang naman Pilipinas, so almost lahat naman ng country yan worldwide is nag-collapse or yun nga, naapektuhan nitong pandemic. So kasi nga nagkaroon ng travel ban, ayan. And then nagsara yung mga businesses, ayan, sa tourism sector. Syempre, hindi lang sa tourism sector, so maging sa ibang industry. So ayun, bumagsak yung economy ng bawat bansa dahil nga dito sa pandemic. So, ayun, isa sa factor din ng bust phase or decline stage. And then, poor planning and weak policy enforcement. So, syempre, yung growth ng isang destination or ng isang country, so nakasalalay din yan syempre sa government, sa namumuno, ayan, sa nag implement ng mga policy and framework. So, kung hindi ganun ka-effective yung government, syempre, yan, in implementing ng mga policy, so, ayan, may negative impact talaga sa destination, syempre. So, dito papasok yung na-abuse yung environment, and then, yung carrying capacity limit or yung maximum allowed na tourist daily. So, kung hindi siya monitored or hindi siya wala siyang properly implemented na policy, so ma-abuse at ma-abuse po yung environment. And also, yan, yung waste management policy, for example, so kung hindi ganun kahigpit yung isang destination, so maaabuso po yung ating environment and natural resources. So, yun, nakasalalay yun din, syempre, doon sa mga policy maker, ayan, policy enforcement, ayan, kung paano sila mag-implement ng policy and planning doon sa destination or sa isang country. So, what are the characteristic ng bust phase or decline phase? So, decline in tourist arrival. So, ayun nga, nag-drop na yung number of visitors doon sa destination. So, nawala na ng appeal or potentially, merong negative publicity yung isang destination. So, syempre, madi-discourage si tourist. So, as a result, so, magkakaroon ng mga business closure, ayan, mga hotel, restaurant, ayan, tour operator. So, may mga magsasara. Ayan nga, dahil nga nag-reduce yung demand, kumonti yung tourist arrival. And, yun, domino effect na po siya. So, mawawalan ng income opportunity or job opportunity yung mga ibang local community. So, pwede rin isa sa factor nga is yung negative media coverage. Ayan, negative feedback or negative image yan sa social media. So, environmental collapse and loss of destination appeal. So, kumbaga, hindi na nakikita as mas visit yung isang destination. So, kailangan mag-effort para nga, ayan, mag-rejuvenate or mabuhay uli yung appeal ng isang destination. So, ayan. So, example ng sa boom and bust phase, ayan, again, is si Boracay na nangyari noong rehabilitation nito during 2018. So, ayan, kung paano nag-effort ang Boracay after nitong 6 months to rejuvenate and ma-regain yung popularity ng kanilang destination. So, yun. Nasa policymaker and yan sa government nga kung paano ma-rejuvenate or mabuhay uli yung appeal ng isang destination. Siyempre, it takes effort din, ayun nga, and policy implementation doon sa isang destination. So, para ma-regain nila yung popularity, ayan, ma-rebrand yung isang destination. So, strategies for preventing the bust freeze or the decline stage. So, again, sustainable tourism practices. So, nandyan yung visitor management. So, maglilimit na tayo nung maximum number of tourists daily. Ayan, and then, namomonitor kung ano yung ginagawa ng mga tourists sa destination. Ayan. And then, environmental monitoring din, syempre. Ayan, kung wala bang any negative impact doon sa destination. So, yung mga tourists, ayan, policy intervention, zoning regulation. So, waste management policies or laws and controlled development. So, kumbaga sa controlled development, ililimit lang nila yung construction ng mga facilities, infrastructure doon sa destination, and making sure na it doesn't harm yung natural resources. So, kung may negative impact sa environment, so, hindi magtatayo ng mga infrastructure doon sa destination. So, kumbaga dadaan ng careful planning and, ayun nga, implementation ng policy. So, ayan. So, other strategies, community engagement, local participation in planning, benefit sharing mechanism. So, ayan, local participation, di ba sabi natin po, in tourism planning, so dapat involved talaga yung local community. So, kasi syempre sila po yung nakatira doon sa destination, so karapatan po nila, ayan nga, to voice out yung kanilang feedback, opinion doon sa mga plano sa kanilang destination. So, syempre, sila yung number one na affected doon sa mga changes na mangyayari sa destination. So, dapat, ayan, yung policymaker, so, kukunin din yung feedback or opinion ng majority ng local community. So, benefit sharing, so, yan nga. So, nagpo-provide ng income or support yung livelihood, education, ayan, ng mga local community. So, dito papasok yung tinatawag natin na community-based tourism. So, kung saan yung local community, so, nagkakaroon sila ng interaction sa tourist, so, nagbibigyan sila ng income opportunity nga sa tourism sector. And, of course, innovation and diversification. For example, new attraction. So, yun, mag-i-introduce ng mga bagong tourist attraction or mga activities doon sa destination. Ayan. And then, off-season tourism. So, during mga low season, so ayan doon po-promote, ayan, maglalabas ng mga other promo or offerings doon sa mga tourists, syempre para ma-boost pa rin yung income opportunity or economy ng tourism sector. Diba? Syempre, during off-season, so mas mababa yung income, ayan, or tourist arrival do sa isang destination, syempre, dapat mag-effort yung isang destination to promote or, yun nga, ma-encourage pa rin yung tourists to visit yung kanilang destination during off-season. So, eco-friendly tourism product, so yung mga sustainable innovations or sustainable product. So, for example, kagaya po dito sa right side, ayan, si Arapila Clothing, ayan, sa Puerto Princesa, Palawan. So, ano ba yung kanilang mga product? Bakit sinabing sustainable? So, yung mga clothes po nila is gawa doon sa katsa or yung sako ng harina. So, nirepurpose po nila yon. So, ginawa nilang mga trendy na clothes. Ayan, OOTD. So, yan yung name ng kanilang clothing company na Arapila. So, from Cuyunan word, yung dialect po sa Palawan. So, ibig sabihin nun, no waste. So, dahil nga ni-recycle po nila yung katsa into a trendy clothes or OOTD. So, ito po yung isang example ng sustainable innovation. Ayan. So, syempre, nakaka-attract din ito ng tourists. So, usually, lalo na yung mga eco-conscious na tourists. So, kasi nga, ayan, nagpo-promote tayo ng sustainable product. Ayan, and yung innovativeness ng isang clothing company. Yan nga, na-repurpose niya yung katsa na naging trendy na mga clothes. So, mitigation and adaptation strategies for sustainable tourism. So, climate change represents one of the most pressing global environmental and developmental challenges of our time. Tourism destinations increasingly feel its effect on beach, forests, natural assets, pushing the industry to confront its environmental footprint, especially carbon emissions. So, fortunately, mitigation strategies are available. Many focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So, ano ba yung mga mitigation strategies or adaptation? Ayan, to sustain nga or practice yung and promote yung sustainable tourism. And syempre, maprotektahan yung ating environment. So, una, ayan, some of examples of mitigation strategies include using renewable energy sources in various tourism operations. So, ayan, for example, yun nga yung paggamit ng mga hotel, ng mga tourism facilities ng solar panel to reduce yung energy consumption. So, ayan, isang way din para ma-encourage yung mga accommodation to use ng solar panel or to invest sa solar panel is, for example, bibigyan ng government ng tax incentives yung mga accommodation na mag-i-invest sa solar panel. Yan, para ma-encourage po sila na mag-participate nga dito sa sustainable tourism practices. So yan, adapting to energy efficiency travel. For example, mag-i-invest doon sa mga electric vehicle, yan, electric na mga shuttle bus, to reduce yung paggamit ng fuel. Ayan nga, dahil nga through electric yung mga vehicle nila or yung mga public transportation. So, yan, isa rin sa eco-friendly practices. And then, reducing the use of single-use plastics in tourism. So, isang maganda and effective na strategy is yan nga, i-reduce or i-ban yung paggamit ng mga single-use plastic. Ayan, for example, yun nandito sa right side. Ayan, sa mga national parks kasi sa Thailand. So, bawal po magpasok ng mga single-use plastic packaging doon sa kanilang mga national park. Siyempre, para maiwasan na magkalat si tourist doon sa destination. Ayan, and siyempre, to promote nga yung sustainable tourism practices. So, not allowed na ipasok doon sa mga national parks. Ayan, for example, yung mga plastic glasses, ayan, food containers, ayan, mga plastic spoon and fork, straw. Ayan, so, upon entry, so, kukunin po or i-confiscate itong mga may plastic packagings natin na dala-dala. Or, yun nga, iwan doon sa labas ng national park. Kasi nga, isa to sa way nila para ma-prevent nga yung pagkakalat ng tourist doon sa kanilang mga national parks. And then, promoting sustainable transportation options for tourism. So, for example, yung mga short distances na tour ng mga tourists, so pwede natin silang encourage, ayan, na mag-rent ng mga bike, ayan, mag-offer yung destination ng mga bike rentals, ayan, mga walking, or kaya promote natin yung walking tour, ayan, cycling, ayan, or yung mga electric vehicle nga, ayan, to reduce yung paggamit ng fuel or gas emission. So, yan, nakatulong na sa environment. So, na-reduce pa yung paggamit nga ng fuel. So, through nga dito sa mga electric vehicle and promoting ng walking tour. Lalo na pagka mga short distances lang naman na tour, ayan, kung magkakatabi lang yung mga tourist destination, so, promote natin yung mga alternative na transport or yun nga, mag-offer ng mga cycling activities for tourists. So, yan, other way to promote nga in sustainable tourism. So next, conservation and protection of natural resources. Conservation is as simple as consuming less energy, water, or waste. By taking part in the responsible management of natural resources and reducing or upcycling waste, you can show tourists that you are serious about your commitment to mitigating some of your environmental footprint, all while protecting your local ecosystems and lowering costs from energy or water bill. So, ayun, by promoting nga yung conservation, ayan, protecting the natural resources, so makaka-attract pa tayo ng mga eco-conscious tourists. And then, for example, kagaya po dito sa left side, ayan, si Iloilo City is kasama doon sa top 20 cities na nagpa-practice no zero waste doon sa kanilang destination. So, ayan, it was awarded by UN. Ayan, kasama sa top 20 cities na nagpo-promote ng sustainable tourism. Yan nga, yung zero waste practices ng Iloilo. So, yan, may link po dito sa baba niyan nung picture. Yan, pwede po nating i-check. Yan, yung article po regarding this. Next, community engagement and empowerment involving local community members in tourism planning and supply chains will ensure that development strikes a balance for mutually beneficial outcomes. This can be done by promoting cultural heritage, supporting local businesses, respecting traditions of indigenous communities, and avoiding harm to ecosystem that locals rely for income and livelihood. So, ayan, yung local participation, aside sa local participation ng community doon sa tourism planning. So, yun nga, yung benefit sharing, yan yung livelihood opportunity na napoprovide sa tourists. Ayan. So, for example, kagaya dito is yung farm to table na concept. So, applying the principles around homegrown produce and short supply chains, farms and destinations can offer more nature-based experience as a way for visitors to learn about sustainable farming practices, witness cultivation, process firsthand, and taste freshly harvested produce. So it supports local farmers and chefs. Farm-to-table tours also let tourists get a look into different types of sustainable practices such as hydroponics and vertical farming. So dito sa concept po ng farm-to-table, so kumbaga nabibigyan na natin ng unique experience si tourists kasi nga na-experience niya paano mag-harvest ng mga vegetable, fruits na isa-serve sa kanya later on. So, yung mga local farmers, nabigyan pa natin ng opportunity na magkaroon ng income. So, ayun, nagkaroon pa sila ng participation sa tourism sector. Ayan, meron silang interaction sa tourists. So, aside doon sa mga usual na activities na pwedeng ma-experience ni tourists, so, meron siyang unique na experience na baon, ayan, during their stay sa destination nga. Through this, farm-to-table concept natin. So, yan, isa rin to sa example ng tinatawag natin na community-based tourism. See? Yan, farm-to-table concept. So, other mitigation strategy ng sustainable practices is the sustainable transportation. So, nabanggit na natin kanina, ayan, pagpo-promote natin ng mga electric vehicle, cycling activity, and then, continuous na investment ng destination sa mga public transportation. Ayan, for example, mga public transit bus, train, yan, etc. So, to encourage yung mga tao na, ayun nga, mag-commute or mag-travel via mga public transportation. Kasi imagine kung lahat po ng tao sa destination is may kanya-kanyang public vehicle. So, aside doon sa crowded sa kalsada, sa traffic, so, syempre, yung effect nito sa contribution nito sa air pollution kasi nga the more na maraming vehicle, syempre mas malaki yung amount ng pollution na napoproduce nito so sa air quality. So kung well-develop yung mga public transportation, ayan, so syempre na-encourage natin yung mga tao na mag-travel via ayan, public transport. So imagine sa isang bus, sa isang train, ilan po ang kasya dito na passenger or tourist, ayan. So, kung lahat ng commuters na to sa mga public transport is may kanya-kanyang vehicle, so araw-araw gagamitin nila yung vehicle sa kalsada, so yung amount na naipoproduce na air pollution is masyadong malaki. So, yan nga, mag-invest doon sa mga public vehicle or transportation nga to encourage ng tourists and passenger na mag-travel via public vehicles. Next, education and awareness. So it is important to raise awareness among tourists, industry professionals, and local communities about what you are doing for sustainable tourism. You can focus on encouraging responsible travel behavior such as minimizing waste, preventing littering, respecting local cultures, and supporting environmentally and socially responsible businesses. So by doing so, sustainable tourism can become ingrained into your business practices and brand identity. So, creating a positive cycle of responsible tourism practices, further contributing to the long-term preservation of your destinations and local resources. So, yun. Importante yung education and awareness. Ayan. Una sa local community. Ayan. Kung aware yung local community doon sa importance nga ng preserving ng environment. So, syempre magkakaroon ng um, effort din sa part nila. So, yun, mag-take action din sila. Ayan, magiging responsible din sila na community ayan, in promoting and practicing yung sustainable tourism. So, and then, syempre, magiging brand identity din ito ng isang destination nga na nagpa-practice and nagpo-promote ng sustainable tourism. So, kumbaga, magandang image to sa destination, ayan, it can attract ng investor and mga potential tourist pa doon sa destination. Next, destination planning and management. So, if you're looking to build or start your tourism business from scratch, develop and implement sustainable management plans that consider destinations carrying capacity, zoning regulations, and preservation of natural and cultural heritage. So, striving for a balance between economic growth and environmental protection. So, yan. Kung mapapansin po natin dito sa picture sa left side, so, ito yung negative impact pagka, ayun nga, walang proper implementation ng policy framework. Walang proper planning doon sa isang destination. So, hindi na nila na-control yung capacity, yung maximum number of tourists dapat lang na allowed daily. So, yan. Mataas nga ang income pero in the long run, so na-abuse naman yung natural resources. So, ayun nga, dapat handled properly, ayan, properly implemented yung mga policy, ayan nga, to protect the environment. Hindi mag-cause ng harm yung tourist sa ating natural resources. And then, syempre, lastly, so monitoring and evaluation. So, monitoring and evaluation are vital in tourism businesses to track environmental impacts such as carbon emission and waste flow using key performance indicator. So, this process measures performance, identifies areas for improvement, and support growth. So, yun, continuous monitoring, ayan, evaluation, ng mga policy maker, ayan nga, ng government, ayan, kung para ma-assess nila kung walang any negative impact sa environment nga yung mga tourism activities. Ayan. So, and also to identify yung mga problem ng mas maaga, ayan, ma-adjust nila yung strategy for long-term growth ng isang destination. Ayan. Kumbaga, tinatrack nila, ayan, yung impact ng tourist doon sa kanilang destination. And then, syempre, through doon, sa assessment nila, so, nagiging basis yon doon sa adjustment ng mga strategies and policy implementation doon sa kanilang destination. Syempre, para maprotektahan nga yung kanilang natural resources. So, yan. For the conclusion, so tourism isn't just about trips and destination. It's about people, communities, and the way we connect with places. So, policy set the rules, planning maps the journey, and development brings those ideas into life. So, together, they make sure tourism grows in a way that benefits everyone while protecting culture and nature. So, syempre kasama, aside sa natural resources, syempre napipreserve din dapat yung cultural identity, yan, yung history, yung na meron doon sa isang destination. I mean, yung kultura, so syempre part ng history yun, dapat napipreserve. So, ayan, up to next generation. So, part yun ng identity ng isang destination. Kasi, so Stanley Plug psychographic theory reminds us that travelers are different. Some crave adventure, other prefers comfort, and destinations evolve depending on who visits them. If places fail to adapt, they risk the boom and bust cycle. So yan, as example yung sa Boracay na nangyari, ayan, na nagdaan sila doon sa rapid growth and decline stage nga dahil hindi nila na-manage ng ayos, iyan, na-implement ng ayos yung kanilang mga policy. So, and then, with smart planning, community involvement, sustainable tourism practices can stay vibrant and meaningful. So, in short, tourism thrives when we balance growth with care, welcoming visitors while respecting the environment and local culture. So, it's about creating experiences that last, not just for tourists, but for the communities who call this destination home. So, yan, tandaan natin lagi. So, aside doon sa income opportunity sa tourism sector, so wag natin kalimutan na may community na tahanan po yung isang destination. So, sila yung top priority pa rin natin aside sa income yun. Environment and community. So, kapakanan ng community na naninirahan doon sa destination, syempre. So, up to next generations nila, so ma-preserve yung mga natural resources na meron doon sa isang destination. So, kaya nga importante na may maayos na policy, yan, careful planning yung isang destination. So, to preserve yung kanilang resources. So, iyan, for the week 2 and week 3 na references, so ito po kaya medyo marami yung websites na additional reference natin. So, yan, for the week 2 and 3 po ito. And then, 3 books na nasa library po ito. Yan, kung gusto niyo gamitin sa assignment or ayan, advanced reading, etc. Ayan, pwede niyo po itong hanapin sa library. So, hindi ko lang sure kung ilang copy po meron. Pero ayan, 2 book po ito. Yung 2024 reference natin, volume 1 and 2. And then yung other one is 2022 na book. Yan, additional website and mga video. So, yung 2 media po na ito na video is yung ating kasama doon sa diniscuss natin during week 2. Ayan, si Allocentric. So, kay Dr. Hayley Stainton. So, pwede nyo rin siyang i-search sa YouTube. Ayan, yung mga video materials niya. May kinalaman sa tourism industry kasi po siya ay isang tourism doctor. So, yun. Kaya, usually siya yung ginagamit ko pong reference talaga, media reference. Even yung websites niya nagagamit ko rin yan nga sa mga lecture natin. Kasi updated naman yung reference niya and, ayun, timely naman kung ano yung mga nangyayari ngayon sa latest sa ating industry. So, for the quiz, so, magbababa po ako ng quiz. So, I hope aware na po kayo na na-adjust yung exam pala by the way. So, na-adjust pa ng another 1 week. So, ibig sabihin may 1 week pa po tayo. Yan, may next week pa tayo bago ang exam week. So, after ng week 4, magbababa po ako ng summative quiz sa Schoology. So, cover na yon week 2 to week 4. So, serve as reviewer na rin ninyo, ayan, for the upcoming prelim exam. So, yun, suggest ko, review na kayo bago magsagot po nung quiz. Pero it doesn't mean na exactly kung ano yung questions po sa quiz is iyon yung nasa exam. Kumbaga, assessment or reviewer po natin yung para, ayun nga, ma-refresh yung mga previous topic natin yan bago mag-prelim exam. So, kaya, sinasuggest ko talaga na sagutan po yung quiz before ng exam week para, ayun nga, additional reviewer din natin. So, for the assignment, nakapagbaba naman na po ako sa Schoology. Ayan, 1 to 4. So, nakasummative na rin siya. Ayan, in-adjust ko naman yung due date. So, check ko mamaya. So, kung ma-adjust pa or nakapag-submit naman na majority. Ayan. And then, RJ, syempre, weekly. Ayan. So, hindi pa po ako nagbababa ng RJ nga pala kasi gagawin ko na po siyang, kumbaga, nakakompile na siya yung week 2 to 4 na RJ. So, after ng week 4, ipapublish ko yung RJ. Pero, ang makikita dapat doon sa RJ nyo po is RJ week 2, week 2 and 3, pala magkasama, and then RJ week 4. So, nasa isang submission siya pagka sinubmit nyo po doon sa Schoology. Pero, ayun, every lesson merong RJ kasi dapat. So, ginawa lang natin isa para hindi masyadong kalat po doon sa Schoology natin and nakakompile na per activity. So, yan. This lesson is aligned with the SDG goal. Yan, merong 7 po na align. So, SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth. 11, sustainable citizen communities. SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. And SDG 13, climate action. SDG 14, life below water. And 15, life on land. SDG 17, partnership for the go. So, ayan. Kung mapapansin nyo lahat naman ng lesson, so required na kasi nilalagyan ng SDG alignment sa dulo. Even yung mga memo natin, announcement, di ba sa ating college, ayan, merong naka-attach lagi na SDG alignment. So, ayan, in participation nga doon sa UN agenda, yung SDG or Sustainable Development Goals. So, ayan, that's the end po ng ating week 3 lesson. So, ayan, start na po na review. Yan, yung mga natapos na nating topic. And then, last lesson natin week 4. So, hanggang week 4 po ang cover ng ating prelim exam. So, wait lang.